I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Good morning, it's Let's Talk TriState. I am Crazy Bob, and with me is blues man Johnny, is it Burgin?
Yes.
Burgin, and he's going to be playing at Hub City Vinyl in Hagerstown on Thursday, May 15th. First of all, good morning, how are you today?
Doing well. How about it, Tony? Tiny.
So I'd just like to say, first of all, welcome, and a blues artist coming to Hub City Vinyl. Tell me, what is everyone going to see when they come out and see you?
Okay, well, I've got a new CD called Ramblin' from Coast to Coast. I've been doing a lot of songs from that, but I also really dig down into like the traditional Chicago sound. I spent 28 years in Chicago learning from the whole tradition there, and that's really what I'm all about. Excellent.
Now, it says here, now, are you from Clarksdale? Is that correct?
I grew up in Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi, and I went to Chicago to go to university, and then I just stayed because I was going to Blues University.
Excellent. Now, did you get started in the blues in Mississippi, or was it something that you found when you got to Chicago?
I really dove into the Chicago blues subculture once I got to school there. I had a radio show on WHBK, which was the University of Chicago station, and a guy there was playing with a blues man named Tail Dragger, like kind of in a black neighborhood place, because the blues really used to be like a folk music instead of this international thing it is now. And so I got totally sucked up into it.
Excellent. Now,
it is part of Southern culture, so like I had sort of a leg up on it.
Right. And, it's funny. I'm actually from the northern suburbs originally.
Oh, really?
Of Chicago. And what was big out there at the time when I was there was open mics. And the coolest thing about the open mics there is you would get mostly heavy metal dudes, long hair, with the biker jackets and everything. And then you would get some other dudes, but it would always be a blues night. That's what everybody's like common denominator was in that area.
Right. And it's still like a universal language. Like music is a universal language, and the blues is something everybody ought to have some understanding of. And if two musicians don't know each other, they can play a blues together.
Absolutely. I think there's probably some common soul, some common rhythms that it's universal.
If you don't dig the blues, you got a hole in your soul.
Absolutely. So what were some of the artists that really got you steeped into being a blues man?
Well, the main guy is Tail Dragger. He's the first guy to give me a chance, and he was a protege of Howlin' Wolf. And he would crawl on the floor. He would sing to all the women. The songs would be like 20 minutes long because he had to sing a verse to every woman in the bar. You know, he's the first guy I went to Europe with, first guy I recorded with. And another person is Sam Lay, who was a drummer for Howlin' Wolf and also for Paul Butterfield. And, he's on Born in Chicago. And he played on Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited.
Oh, wow.
Because, when Dylan went electric, the band actually backed him up with Paul Butterfield Blues Band.
Right.
Sam Lay. And anyway, Sam is a real road warrior and a great singer and just a real blues man. And so, when I was in my early 20s, I was in that van for 2 years going everywhere.
Wow.
And it was a tough school because he knew exactly what he wanted and he didn't accept anything less. But it was a very good school, and a lot of guys in Chicago went to that school. So I think about those people and others all the time when I go forth and do my thing, because no one really officially graduates you, but eventually it's time to spread your wings and do your thing.
Right. Now, being in Chicago, and Chicago does have a blues subculture, but it's funny because there are certain times it comes in and out where it's popular and not so popular. I remember during the, I guess I'll call it the Stevie Ray Vaughan era, where it really, between Stevie Ray Vaughan and Robert Cray and even Eric Clapton,
sure,
it really had a big impact on popular music for a while. But there's cities around the country and probably throughout the world where there is a blues kind of subculture that never dies.
Absolutely. And Chicago and the whole Rust Belt, not that Chicago's actually the Rust Belt, but the whole Rust Belt in the Midwest is super Chicago. The South, not super Chicago, but super blues. Mm-hmm. There's just fans who really care about it because there were so many great blues artists in Chicago, and they hit all those towns all the time and created those fans. And those fans are still there. Those are my fans now,
Right. Did you play the popular clubs in the area?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Blues on Halstead.
Buddy Guys?
Buddy Guys, Blues on Halstead. Sometimes I played at the Checkerboard, which was like a South Side place. Mm-hmm. Played these regular nights on the West Side. And then, it was a...
Now, when you got bit by that, the blues bug, as it were you influenced at all by any of the other popular music that was going on at the time? Did you let it seep in, or was it something that you kind of kept yourself insulated from?
It was kind of a full-on commitment to the blues idiom, for a long time. Now I'm a little more relaxed about it, but I had to sort of make myself go to my own little blues boot camp,
Were you a purist?
There's always something going on. Yeah, I really kind of am. And that's all right. It's a big tent. Mm-hmm. And, the purists are now sort of a smaller section of the whole thing, and that's fine. I teach at the Pinetop Perkins camp in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and that's a super purist camp. It's run by Bob Margolin, who played with Muddy Waters. And anyway, but now I can sort of open up a little bit. And I spent some time in California. They have a whole different take on things, but it's a very solid blues. And they had a whole diaspora of black people going to California, not just black people going up to Chicago and Detroit and all that. Mm-hmm. And they have it's more of a swing thing, and it's just a different thing, but it's a great blues too. So I've got a bit of California in there with Chicago too.
Sure. There is a really weird relationship between Chicago and California when it comes to a lot of musicians, not just blues musicians, but a lot of musicians. There's this weird, they go there and they come back. And I think they take a little bit of Chicago with them to LA or just in California in general, and then bring a little bit back. Yeah. It's weird because I've known a lot of musicians who have gone to California and come back, and there's this weird relationship.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship, and you can see it on records even all through the 50s on up, Like someone in Chicago would make a record, and someone in California kind of answers it and is influenced by it. It's like a cultural ping pong.
Right.
But, I left Chicago, but I never did go back to I left Chicago and went to California, but I never went back to Chicago. Now I'm in Memphis. So it's kind of full circle.
Yeah, well, you're down in the home of the blues.
Yeah. Memphis is kind of like the Austin, Texas of the Mississippi Delta. It's where like talented people who, it's the first place they go.
Right. Now it says here you're also a blues teacher. What are some, like, if you were to teach someone about the blues or blues music, where would you start with that?
That's a good question. Most of the people who I teach are already sort of into it, and I'm sort of pulling it forward a little bit. But I'd start with like Jimmy Reed, Little Walter, Muddy Waters, and playing melodically and that kind of thing. And also understanding the history of it, because you really have to, it's not just like, once it's art, it's in the world. And people can respond to it and take from it what they want. But you can't just put it on like it's just a cool coat to wear at a party. Because it is a deep subculture from generations, and it means a lot to people. So you have to you have to acknowledge the history of it in some kind of way, some kind of meaningful way. Right.
And I think musicians in general, once they get a taste of it, they don't just want to know about the pentatonic scale. They want to know about the artist and the artist who influenced them and so on and so forth.
The continuum, right. The continuous story that goes back. And yes, I agree. And the pentatonic scale, I'm glad you brought that up, because if someone, nobody in the audience ever said, "Oh man, that was such a great scale."
Right.
So you're not done once you learn those scales.
Right.
It's good to learn scales because it gets you started. But a scale is like a pot or a pan. It's not the dish.
Right. Exactly. That's a good way to look at it.
Not a dish that's in the pot.
Yeah. What kind of musicians come and see you? Are these like beginning musicians or musicians who are kind of putting their toe in the blues, or what kind of musicians you got?
They're people who love it and they just want to play better. And maybe they're not big pros or anything, but they already are blues fans, and they found me. Because I do these weekly guitar lesson videos I put on YouTube, and I've met so many people that way. There's always somebody at my shows who are like, "I love your videos, so I drove 2 hours to see your show," or whatever. Wherever I go. So
that's got to be kind of fun and gratifying in a weird way.
Really nice. So every Monday I put it out. This is my third year of every single Monday except for Christmas.
Excellent.
I started during the pandemic. And it's not about me or what I play. It's about like an appreciation of some or other blues artist. And lots of times they're not the most popular or most famous ones, but they have merit. And it's also interesting sometimes, like I did a lesson on Robert Nighthawk, who is a great slide player. And like his daughter's like, "Thank you for writing about my daddy, it's just, it's real people."
Right. That's great. Now, is there, like some blues players are married to a certain instrument or a certain brand. What is your go-to?
I'm kind of a Gibson guy. And I like that it's all about the pickups, So I like humbuckers and I like P90s. Now I have the SG with the P90 in it, and I love it. I only started playing it because I hurt my shoulder and I needed something lighter, but now my shoulder is better and I'm still playing it.
That's great.
Yeah, it's also practical. It's smaller,
It's funny because I have seen, going out and seeing blues players, a lot of them, you'll see them with the Strat or the ES35 or 355. What is it?
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of blues players playing the SG. And it was weird because at the time I'm young and I'm looking at the SG. That's more of you think of AC/DC. And you see these blues players playing rock guitars, and I'm like, what's going on here? But, it is, you're right. It's a very accessible guitar, very, very light with a nice neck.
I think they're coming back in style for the blues. And, Johnny Littlejohn had a SG. There are people who've played them through the years. My first guitar was a Rickenbacker.
Nice.
My mother bought it for me. And like I got so much attention just for having that Rickenbacker, and it did have this twang that just stuck out, so it kind of made me stick out from the pack. So, and I still have a Rickenbacker, and I do play that sometimes. I got to start playing that more.
So, do you primarily play the SG, or are there others in the stable there for you?
Oh Lord, I like this Epiphone Sheridan. It's like the John Lee Hooker guitar that he had towards the end. I like that guitar a lot.
And when you're looking for an amp, what do you go to?
I have a Dr. Z.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a 210s. I like the 210s because, and then I have a Fender Super. I love the Super, but the Super is just too big for a lot of places. I do play a lot of little places, and but I love the Super's like a Cadillac.
Sure.
It's just a great amp.
And it weighs a ton.
Yeah. And that's fine, but it's loud. I don't want to be too loud.
Right.
I want to be loud sometimes, but I don't want to stay loud.
Right.
Dynamics are so important. So a 210 is about right for, it's not too small and it's not too big.
Right. I appreciate you talking shop with me on that one.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
I do have a couple of friends that play the Dr. Z as well.
They're good.
And it's funny because it is a strangely, it's got this weird ring to it, this weird bell sound to it. You know what I mean? And it's a very versatile amp. So tell me about your CD, Ramblin' from Coast to Coast.
Oh, let me say one thing right quick. I was just in Europe and the UK for 10 weeks, and I never used the same amp twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm not bringing my amp over there. I'm
right.
my gigs and stuff. It was great, and so you got to learn how to make it work on whatever amp you have to.
Right. I actually have a friend who plays in a band, and she's living in Europe now. But yeah, she says the only thing she takes is her pedal, and she plays whatever the house amp is.
I brought 3 pedals and I never used them. Because I thought, maybe the amp might not have reverb, so I brought a reverb pedal and an overdrive pedal. But anyway, I never did end up using them.
Yeah.
And
well, that's good that you didn't have to.
Plug in and just do it.
Absolutely.
But you were saying.
Okay, yeah. So tell me again about the Ramblin' from Coast to Coast.
Thanks for asking. It's my 11th record. And this was the 6th most played record on the Big Blues chart of 24, which is really nice. And I've got some young kids, young people on there, people in their 20s, people my age, and great guest singer Ray Gordon from Portland. And I recorded just a little bit here, a little bit there. So it took over a year. Like I was in Dallas, so I had, I played with some of my friends there, got a few songs done. 5 songs in Memphis, a couple songs in Rochester, New York. And it turned out to be my best record. And because it's good to just do a little bit at a time. I always used to do them like in one shot, My other best record is Greetings from Greaseland. I did that whole record in 5 hours.
Holy smokes.
So you either got to be really fast or really take your time.
Yes. Well, I like the fact that, you kind of did a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, because that's almost like you take a little soul from each place you're at.
Yeah, and you collaborate with different people, so there's lots of people on the record. And, blues is, for me, it's like, it is a collaboration. Mm-hmm. And I get something back when I hear somebody do something inspiring and I can answer it. So it really, very, very, very happy about that.
If you're talking to someone who's unfamiliar with the blues, who are the 3 artists you would tell them they should listen to really get kind of a baseline understanding?
Nice question. Well, Little Walter, absolutely. The harmonica player, he played with Muddy Waters. And I guess Sonny Boy Williamson, number 1. There's 2 Sonny Boys. The first Sonny Boy was like more from the 30s. But he's truly the template for the Electric Chicago Blues. And he's just such a engaging personality. His personality just jumps off the record. And after that, I guess, you could either say Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf. I mean, take your pick. I guess Muddy was more influential, but I really, Howlin' Wolf has that animal edge to it.
Right.
So does Muddy, but Wolf is just more primal, and it goes back to the Memphis with the Sun stuff. So I guess for me, Sonny Boy Number 1, Little Walter, and Howlin' Wolf.
Howlin' Wolf was metal before metal.
Yeah, right. It was utterly primal.
Who would be some contemporary blues artists you think people should give a listen to? Other than, of course, yourself.
Well, I like Anson Funderburg a lot. He's a real tasty guitar player. It's really moving what he does. Mark Hummel, great harp player in the Bay. Aki Kumar, we toured together. We just did some festivals in France. I think Aki is just one of the best harp players out there. And he also does some stuff in Hindi. He grew up in Mumbai, so he's just totally original. Young kid here in Memphis, Jad Tariq. Dylan Bishop, great guitar player. And there's many more. I like this guy, Little George Suref from London. These are some of these people are my friends,
Yeah.
But I admire what they do, I love the whole fellowship of it. And there's many, many more. There's really something for everybody in the little blues world today.
Sure. And for me, at least, when someone says blues, it's kind of synonymous with guitar.
Guitar, harmonica. I mean, the harp is really important too.
Right.
But yeah, guitar sort of took over everything. We live in a guitar world, but anyway, there's some great young piano players, including like some people on my record. Ben Levin, he's super traditional. He's from Cincinnati. There's some other great piano players out there too. Ethan Limond, Hannah PK. Hannah's on my record. Johnny Iguana, he's on Delmark. He's got a new record out. He's one of my. He used to play with Junior Wells.
Oh wow.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, like I'm a guitar player, but it's not really about the guitar for me. I'm not a shredder. It's not about the Guitar Hero thing. Like that was like a rock thing that kind of influenced the blues.
Sure, absolutely.
And it never used to be that way because it was about the singer, it was about the song, it was about the story. So, I'm trying to like focus it back on that. Still put some tasty guitar in there, but it's just a little guitar catnip.
Sure.
You know?
I like that, guitar catnip.
Yeah, that'd be a good title for a record.
Yes, absolutely. You're playing at Hub City Vinyl Thursday, May 15th. And
Yes.
what kind of musical journey are you going to take people on?
It's a good question, but all my songs have a little story to them, and I'm going to tell a bit of the story. It's kind of my ups and downs for the last 30 years, I guess, and the people that I was lucky enough to play with, and I mentioned those in the story. It's like a little journey, little bullet points.
Right. And you know what? When you're talking blues, and we always talk its connection to rock, there's also the connection to folk music, the connection to country and western.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's the origin of it all.
Yeah. Yes. The blues is the roots.
That's right. And I guess that when you were talking about you tell stories, that's the folk music, the country and western, and
Right. It's the exact opposite of a top-down arena rock experience, or arena country experience, or arena music experience. I remember the day, I'm like, I'm never going to an arena again. I'm just not, because unless it's something really incredible or whatever. But I'm just because like this communal, and it's best in an intimate environment.
Right.
And so this is kind of an intimate space. It's really not music for the masses exactly, although people get it right away. But it's meant to be an intimate storytelling connection kind of thing where you can see the audience, and it's funky, so funky you can smell it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I want them to laugh, cry, and shake their butts.
Yes, absolutely. You know,
I don't want much.
the perfect storm of awesomeness. Once again, Johnny Burgin playing Hub City Vinyl Thursday, May 15th. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today. And we look forward to seeing you.
I really appreciate being on your show.
And you know what? Before we go, do you have social medias and how can we find you?
Yes, great. Johnny Burgin Live on Facebook, Johnny Burgin on Instagram. I'm on the other platforms. My shows are on Bands in Town, or they're on my website. So follow me on Bands in Town, or sign up to the email list. Website is JohnnyBurgin, BURGIN.com.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today, and we'll see you next Thursday.
You made my day. Thank you.
All right. Take care, bud.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.